Hello, everyone, and welcome to TFYLP, episode number 286, recorded April 28th, 2018. I'm your host, Duron Land, a.k.a. Weird Wolf. Along with me this evening is Jim Black. Staring at you awkwardly. I think his mic doesn't work.
It should.
Oh, now it is.
Hello.
Hello. Headmaster Don.
Hey, everybody.
He's blinding us with the top of his head.
Oh, pot kettle black, Duron. Jeez.
I'm not bald. I'm just beautiful.
Well, that's two lies right there in a row.
Also,
just like I don't have a dad bod, I have a father figure.
And that voice you hear is from Rick Alvarez.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
And then Jon Snow shows up and kills everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
And it was at that moment that Roman Reigns music hit.
That was an epic soundtrack to Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
loved it.
I have yet to see Thor Ragnarok. Yeah,
I think it was the best one.
Haven't had a chance. I think
it's the best one.
It's pretty good, and so is Black Panther. And
I meant to go see Black Panther before, but I haven't seen Avengers either, so I'm sort of way behind on my Marvel movies. I just haven't had a chance to lately.
Yeah, you kind of got to see both of those before you see Avengers.
Absolutely.
Going to see
you know what really
tomorrow.
grinds my gears?
Spoilers?
I took my daughter to the movie theater today to go see this Avengers movie. Now, I'd already seen it, so I knew that, she could handle the graphic nature of certain scenes. And, we were running late, so I had to buy some food there. I bought a hot dog, 1 for her, 1 for me. $17
for 2 hot dogs.
For 2 hot dogs.
I got you beat.
No, listen to the whole thing. I got a box of candy, the Pocky sticks, 2 hot dogs, and the Thanos cup. It's the cup with a naked Thanos on top. $27.60.
Lord, it's highway robbery. I remember I went to a inaugural season Devil Rays game down in Tampa Bay back in, I think it was 98, which was their first season. And I flagged down one of the vendors because I wanted a foot-long hot dog, And I asked how much it was before he handed it to me, and he said $15. I said, it's a goddamn hot dog. Just like that. It's like, it's a hot dog.
You're paying for that guy to bring it to you.
Yeah. Well, they were still like $15 at the concession stand too, because that was my thinking. I'm like, well, I'll wait till between innings and I'll go to the concession stand. And I went to the concession stand and it was about the same there too. So I'm like, I understand they got to make their money somehow, but you're already paying, god awful money just to get into the ball field. But gosh, that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, dude. I feel so old. As if I didn't already feel old enough, as a collector. We were talking the other day during a pre-record, and Christian was on, and he's like, yeah, I was like 8 when Armada came, or 11 when Armada came out, and I'm like, God, your core audience. Oh.
Well, I can do you one better.
You were an adult when G1 came out.
Those that follow me on Twitter, I was at a couple of used toy stores today. I did a Periscope for the first one called I believe Frank's Cool Stuff, and it's a small store in Roanoke, and I was up there visiting friends. And the person I was with said, "Wow, all the stuff I grew up with is now called vintage." And I said, "Imagine how I feel." But yeah, but
we had a discussion on that here a while back about, what is considered vintage and what is considered, it's to me personally, I think anything that is 15 years or older should be considered vintage. But that go back and watch that episode. It was a big argument.
God damn it!
What'd you do now?
No, with cars, isn't it considered 25 years?
what's wrong, Rick?
Something like that.
I opened a beer. I put it on the counter. I grabbed my stuff and I came into the basement and I left the beer upstairs
For
Now
your
my
children
wife
to
is-
grab it.
and now my wife is gonna find it and she's gonna know I was breaking my diet.
Oh,
Well, what-
BWRUN, beer run.
is one beer actually breaking your diet? Just, I mean,
well,
See, I don't drink.
do you have time to run and get it? How long will it take you to run and get it?
I don't know.
Run and
Couple
get it.
minutes.
We will
And-
save you.
You know how big my house is. Man code. All right, I'm enacting man code.
I think we can handle this. So, Don,
After
tell
these
us some
messages,
stories.
right
What
back.
what Transformers did you find in this toy store you went into?
well, the first one, Frank's Cool Stuff, I found he didn't have a lot of Transformers there, but it's a smaller store. The short version is they used to be at a flea market across the street where they had a space that was 3 times the size of the building they're in now,
Mm.
but the building was condemned,
Oh,
and they had one day to get all their stuff out.
oh,
So, and this was about 2 years ago.
it's like hello,
So-
short notice.
Yeah. So basically, I guess he found, I don't know, but I guess he found the first place he could afford to get set back up. And it's a very small shop. It's like in a little strip mall. So you can imagine like a little small strip mall would be one of those kind of shops. But I did see a lot of Gundam kits. Transformers wasn't a lot of Transformers, but they did have the Takara animated leader class Megatron, which I had forgotten how beautiful that figure is in the Takara paint job. The American version is no slouch either. The American version is no slouch, but with all the extra paint and detailing on the animated version, but that was $100. So, that I love that figure, but that was one of the figures that would like stay in the box.
Mhm.
So, that it was a little too pricey for me. But there was a lot of Gundam figures. I was telling the guys pre-show they did have the last of the Sailor Moon transformation wands that I needed for the set on that. They had original series Garbage Pail Kids, Series 5.
Wow.
Yeah, original series on that. The second place we went to was called The Basement. And they had tons of Transformers, a lot of Beast Machines that I sort of ignored, obviously. They had Pepsi Prime. They had a lot of the robots in disguise, like Prowl and all that, in really good shape in there. Had a Swamper from Toy World on the shelf.
Wow. That's
so-
vague. Or not vague, but random.
But some of the non-Transformer stuff, I saw a lot of box G.I. Joe, like a box Cobra Bug, which he said was
Oh,
complete. A Cobra Mountain play. I'm not familiar with that. The Cobra Mountain play set.
It's from Spy Troops.
Okay, complete one of those. He had from, if you know Silverhawks, he had a Hot Wing, which is from that last wave of Silverhawks.
The
Before
most
You know,
racist
I-
character in the world.
I love that TV show, but I didn't care for the toys at all.
You know,
Kind of like Thundercats.
Silverhawks was a great show, a great toy line, but when you really break it down, it was so racist.
Yeah. What about Cowboy?
Because the only black guy on Silverhawks was called Hot Wings.
But also he was one of the coolest because he knew magic, and he could make, and he was just really super powerful. But yeah, unfortunately the chrome was faded and it was the wrong Hulk with him, so I didn't pick that up. But there was a lot of stuff there. Just he and if you know like classic building toys, he had in his private collection several boxed complete robotics sets.
Nice.
And if you remember robotics, those were the stuff. And he had several box sets that was in his personal collection on display. Immaculate boxes. And if you remember robotics, they had these great graphics, these really great looking boxes, and they were immaculate boxes, very little wear and tear. So there's that. But I really didn't pick up that much, just because like I wanted the Pepsi Prime, but that was a little more than I wanted to put into it. I wanted the Megatron, but that was just sticking the box because it's so pretty in robot mode. I really didn't want to take it out of the box. But it definitely was a nice and just a nice toy crawl. You know, something I haven't had a chance to do in a long time.
Nice. You know, I going on vacation here in a couple months, and actually going to be kind of over in that neck of the woods, looking to go to Virginia Beach and then Washington D.C. and then kind of curl back. And it you know, it's going to be nice to actually have a vacation that's not Transformer related for the first time in well over a decade for me personally.
But one thing about Virginia Beach, if you've not been, Duron, now it may have changed.
I've been to D.C., but I've never been to Virginia Beach.
Unless the city has changed, the one thing about Virginia Beach is I was there many years ago for KatsuCon, which is an anime convention, but it's been years since I've been there. The one thing about Virginia Beach is when you're traveling and you see the sign for the exit, you're passing the exit. They don't have the sign before it. The sign for your exit is at the exit. So, but again, this was before GPS when I was still using a Ram Anley Road Atlas to travel.
I'm going to be using the handy dandy Google GPS. So hopefully,
but I mean, that was that.
And we've actually got our hotel booked at both places. And from what I understand, the hotel that we have booked in DC, we're going to be there for I think 2 days. And we're going to be in Virginia Beach for 3 and then D.C. for 2. And the hotel we have there is overlooking the White House, the Washington. It's in Arlington, just across the Potomac. But from our hotel, we should be able to see the White House and all that stuff. And I'm kind of excited. This will be the first time I'll be back in D.C. since just before September 11th. Last time I was in D.C. was like 2 months before September 11th. 2001. So, yeah, it's going to be a nice little trip, and then I'm kind of looking forward to the beach. I know it'll be crowded, but I also wanting to see the Naval Museum there in Virginia Beach.
If you go to the Air and Space Museum, I believe they still have the Transformers exhibit I set up.
Really?
Yeah. If you go, you see to where they filmed Revenge of the Fallen, and you see the Jetfire. There's a Transformer exhibit that I got to set up there. At
the Smithsonian?
At the Air and Space Museum. And the toys there came from my collection, and they actually say donated from J. Alvarez.
Nice.
In the actual case. And so I got to go in there after the Smithsonian had closed. And we were there till 4:30 in the morning, so I got to run around all the exhibits. And I got to touch the Blackbird. I got to touch the Enterprise, like the Space Shuttle Enterprise. And
what was it like when the Transformers and the other items in the museum came to life in the after hours?
So one of the cool things I got to do at night in the museum was I got to handle all the props, and this was like I had been at Hasbro for like maybe 4 or 5 months, and they're like, hey, listen, everyone's going to the premiere in Los Angeles except you.
And you're like, oh,
we're flying you down to DC. You got to do this thing. You got to set up this movie display thing. I'm like, so I don't get to go, but they did fly me down first class, which was nice.
That is nice. Yeah,
but it was like 8 a.m. So it was like, I guess it's too early to drink. Technically, I was working, so.
I asked the live viewers how we look and sound. Benjamin Yoon comes back and says, "Handsome." I'm like, "Yes."
What podcast are you watching?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got my beer, guys. Tonight's
I thought you were going to say you got your beer gut. And I'm like, don't we all?
I got my beer. Tonight is Chocolate Bock by Sam Adams. It's smooth, rich, and dark.
Yeah, and you could have had a nice, refreshing Zima.
And for those wondering, I unfortunately had a technical difficulty with my beard. And the doctors have assured me it will grow back. So
I'm doing my diabetes proud tonight and doing the water thing. So, but let's kind of move things along here. As you can see, we are broadcasting live. I'm using the new mixer. Hopefully everything sounds good. I'm showing a good throughput on the actual broadcast. CPU usage is way down. Looking good. And this is on the old computer. I'm really excited whenever we get to the new computer. But this seems really, really, really fun to be able to be live again.
Well, just remember, if the new computer says, "Do you want to play a game?" you say no.
I will be able to play some war games with it because it is going to be a beast. But
So it'd be Beast Wars.
Maybe, yes. But a little editor's note: I will not be able to be on next week. Therefore, we will have to use one of the pre-recorded episodes. The pre-recorded episode that I have scheduled to go up next week will be dealing with negativity in the fandom. I know it's a topic that we've kind of touched. Well, actually, we've touched on it before, but I think we went a different spin with it. Plus, we had a few new people on the cast, so it was good to have their perspective. And ever so often, it's a good idea to revisit topics, especially such as that one, because in this fandom, it's very easy to get dragged down by just simply going onto the forums or going onto the Facebook groups and reading comments that some people post. And you'd think that in a hobby where it's something that we enjoy, there's a lot of people out there that apparently don't enjoy the hobby because they bitch, moan, and complain about everything. And it's easy to get brought down about that. It's easy to get brought down with other people who are negative toward you or people in general that collect. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that episode. But I won't be able to be on next week. I'm going to be doing some family things. I got another one actually in the can that was going to be that episode. But I was reading some comments on one of our listeners' page the other day. And it really touched me. And I'm like, I think that's really pertinent. And I think it'll help a lot. Not just with her, but with a lot of people as well. It even helped me because there's times that I'll get down, and there's times I'm like, why the hell do I do this? Then I remember and go right back at it.
I mean, it's not to dwell on this too much, take away from the thing, but there is a lot of toxicity in many fandoms.
Transformers is not immune to it, definitely.
Yeah, it's not. I would like to think maybe we're in slightly better shape than some other fandoms that I've seen, through my own things, other things that I collect. I'm a fan of a lot of things, but I'm not in those fandoms like I am with Transformers, but I see a lot of the toxicity, and that's something that I think we really don't need, and it's just something that you need to try to keep a lid on because
you're not going to avoid it, and that's a bottom line, and we even state that in the episode. But there are ways to deal with it, and we mainly look at different ways of just dealing with it. Not just
I don't know. I can't deal with it right now.
Yeah, don't be an Ultra Magnus. Don't not deal with it right now. So speaking of negativity, how do you deal with it, Jim?
Well, how do I deal with negativity? I usually
just put your head in the sand and.
Well, no. Dealing with negativity, one outlet would be these little plastic collectibles, Transformers, such as this.
But what if the negativity is directed at those or directed at you for those?
Oh, yeah,
And that's the whole point of the episode.
So this is a form of a kind of escapism from that, And if there's one that I'm really wanting to mess with, but I don't have yet, I might be able to find it at capturedprey.com.
Indeed.
Great toys, great prices, great service.
Absolutely. Also, if you love what we do, help us continue each month. It helps us whenever you visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/TFYLP and sign up for our monthly Patreon. It helps us do upgrades. It's helping pay for the computer that's replacing this one that's almost 10 years old that I'm on. It helps us get new equipment, helps us pay the cable bill, because I've got to have a good streaming internet to get this great looking video that's out right now, because for the longest time I thought maybe it was just that I had shit internet, and no, it was my shit computer. But it really helps us and makes the show better through our fans. And if it weren't for you, we wouldn't even be here. This show is for the fans. That's why we continue to do it each week. We've been around since 2010, so we're almost 10 years old. That's a cool thing to say as a podcast. 10 years ago or 8 years ago, 9 years ago, however long it was. It'd be 9 years in October. So yeah, I would have never dreamed that TFYLP would have come this far. Well, this podcast, or what would become TFYLP, would have come this far, and I'm really happy that we continue to serve the fans, and that you guys enjoy our show each week. And that's the number one way to support us, is go through our Patreon at patreon.com/TFYLP. And the second way to do it is to subscribe and like, no matter where you are with the way you consume the show, whether it be through iTunes or Google Play or even here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and like us, and tell other people that you like TFYLP. And where did Jim Black go? He just disappeared. Speaking of shit internet, let me try to get him back. Let's see here. Jim, come back. Come back, Jim. We would like you to come back. Come back. I bet his computer went kaput.
Or a tornado hit.
One of
Probably
the
a tornado.
one
Or
of the
velociraptors.
Well, he's not answering. So hopefully, let's see here. You
Should we
just
call the
missed.
police, or
You guys all froze and the call dropped. No, we're still going. It's just you, Jim.
just tell him he's an asshole?
Yeah. It's just you, Jim. We're still here.
So,
Anyway, tonight's episode.
What are we gonna do tonight? What are we talking about?
Actually, that's what I was getting ready to get into until Jim so eloquently just dropped away. But tonight we're going to be doing a little something different. I don't think we've ever actually done this on the show. Rick has gotten several topics and has thrown them into a hat or a jar or something. And what we're going to do is draw those topics out, and we're going to kind of round table each one of those topics.
I think you're over-explaining it. They're not so much topics as general questions.
Okay.
General questions. So I'm using random.org, and let me just okay. So here's our first question.
Okay.
One character must disappear forever. Grimlock, Ratchet, or Soundwave?
Lord.
Mm.
I'm going to go with Ratchet, because out
You
of
don't
all,
need a medic?
yeah, but the thing is in the Transformers lore, I can imagine Transformers without Ratchet, but I cannot imagine Transformers without Grimlock or Soundwave.
But Ratchet has been more prominent in Transformers than both those characters.
You think?
Well, Ratchet was in G1. He was in 4 movies. He was on Animated. He was a main character on Animated. He was a main character on Prime.
But he doesn't have a Hallmark ornament. Grimlock does, and Soundwave does now.
Is that your basis for judging?
No, I'm just talking about how many Grimlock fans do you think are out there, and how many Ratchet fans do you think are out there? How many Soundwave fans do you think are out there? I think the latter two. I think Ratchet just falls way behind. Ratchet is a second or third tier character, and I think Grimlock and Soundwave are more first tier. That's my opinion.
In the Binder of Revelation, Grimlock was a tier 3 character, and so was Soundwave. Ratchet was tier 2. We're very far apart on this.
Apparently not. Apparently not, because the listeners are all saying Ratchet as well.
Don, you're a person that has some kind of common sense.
I'm actually going to say Soundwave.
What?
And that's why he has common sense.
Because and the reason is that I think Soundwave's role over the years has become a lot more out of proportion as to what he actually contributed.
Exactly.
I mean, in the comics was one variation. Again, I'm not talking IDW because I'm not reading it, but I think he's just become a figure that's given a lot more importance than what he's actually pulled off. And again, they could always kill off Soundwave and then come back with new Soundwave or whatever the case. If they wanted to follow, they could always do that. But I would like to see Soundwave, I don't know, retire to a farm upstate New York and get a new communication. And then this new, it'd be kind of like the Optimus Rodimus kind of dynamic. He's like Soundwave's protege that no one ever really looked at, because you've got Soundwave, and now Soundwave is dead. So you've got a protege that no one even really worked with. Maybe like a Decepticon equivalent of Hubcap. Because Hubcap was like a communications officer for the Autobots, but he didn't do his job. This would be a guy who was trying to do this job, but it was always Soundwave this, Soundwave that. Now you have a new character coming in, and we see him go through this level of progression, becoming in this important position of controlling Decepticon communications.
And we call him Soundbite.
I don't know. I'm sure that it could be, but yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't hate Soundwave. I just think his aura of mystique has become bigger than what he's actually contributed to the Decepticon cause. Again, not counting IDW because I haven't read that, so I don't know. But that's
Dawn.
All right,
Dawn. Listener Danny Vestal says here in the YouTube chat, Soundwave and Grimlock too iconic. Soundwave has too many connected to him. Forget that. So you're saying Ravage, Laserbeak, Rumble go away? Really? Come on, bro.
Well, no. You just said Soundwave.
You said one character.
Yeah,
I know, but by doing away with that one character, you can also.
Listen, those characters are not always connected to him. And
that's also part of the new dynamic is you have this new character who is now basically in charge of these cassette characters, and you've got a whole new dynamic going on there where where Ravage and the rest of the cassettes have to get used to this new communications commander, and this new communications commander is like, I don't know what to do with these guys.
You keep thinking about cassettes. Move on.
Yeah, or the basic, maybe the new guy is some kind of, I'm gonna call him a ham radio. I don't know what else. I'm just saying, right. And then you can reformat the cassettes into something more modern to go with this new guy. But again, you've got storytelling potential there. A new guy coming in, no one even really bothered paying attention to because there was always Soundwave was there. Now Soundwave is gone, and now the cassettes have to work with this new guy as well. And I think there's a lot of storytelling potential there.
So here's what I'm gonna say, Don. You're stuck in the past. You're stuck in the past because Soundwave is not about the tapes. That is an aspect that happened in G1.
Right. Well, I'm just saying.
Right. To me, that is Soundwave.
I'm saying the cassette Soundwave are tied so together you would have in order, and for good storytelling, you would have to acknowledge the cassettes as part of this new dynamic. Otherwise, they would just be like, "Oh, what about the cassettes? They're on vacation for the next 20 years, and this new guy's taking over."
Yeah.
So here's why I picked Soundwave. Here's the thing: every iteration that they've appeared in, what has Grimlock been? A T-Rex. Every iteration, what has Ratchet been? An ambulance. Every iteration Soundwave has been in, he's been something different.
Oh, he was
doing,
a raptor. Grimlock
doing
was
a different purpose in almost every iteration. IDW, he's a car tank. G1, he's a tape player. Animated,
Beast Wars, he was a bat.
He's a tape deck. You know, that's not even the G1 Soundwave in Beast Wars. You know, Transformers Prime, he's a drone.
But that's
in
not
the movies,
that's not
he's a
G1
satellite.
Soundwave.
He's a car. You know, I didn't say G1. I said one character has to go.
I know. That's
and
what
that's
I'm
the
saying.
thing about Soundwave.
Soundwave
That is
was
the
a
thing
bat.
about
in
what
Beast Wars.
Soundwave is something different in each and every iteration because they need a generic character. And that's why Soundwave is able to become anything in any iteration because he is generic. Iconic in G1, yes, but trivial in all other iterations.
And the thing is in G1, I always viewed Soundwave as like the number 3, he was always like the third in charge because he seemed like Megatron's most loyal right hand man. I mean, he couldn't depend on Starscream because Starscream was
a jerk,
and always looking to usurp. But here you had loyal Soundwave, and to me, you know, just if I could just do away with one character in the Transformers lore, like erase his existence, I just could not imagine that with Soundwave.
Well, I'm not saying erase the. I'm just saying
that's the way I saw the original question, though.
Yeah, you know, Soundwave basically takes a hit for Galvatron or Megatron, whatever the case may be, and you know, I'm just saying from a purely storytelling standpoint, I think the loss of Soundwave would generate a lot more, because if you lose Ratchet, you've still got First Aid, you've got Hoist, and you've got Fix It. So you still have a lot of Autobot medics, maybe not Ratchet's level, and again, Hoist is more of a mechanic than a medic, but you've still got 3 solid Autobots there that can take over for Ratchet. Who's going to take over for Soundwave? And I'm just saying, from a storytelling potential,
maybe it's a Decepticon medic. Who's the Decepticon medic?
Scavenger. No, I'm sorry, Hook. Technically, I believe it's supposed to be
I
Hook.
think any Constructicon was a medic, technically, for the Decepticons.
Right.
But, before you go, though, on the subject of Ratchet, a little tidbit a lot of people may not know. Did you know in Generation 1, he was originally supposed to be a female character?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Bob Budansky who originally named the character, and he named him after Nurse Ratchet from Star Trek, or not Star Trek. Was it? Where was it? Nurse Ratchet from
Star Trek.
Was it Star Trek?
Star Trek. Yeah. Nurse Ratchet on Star Trek.
So, and it was originally supposed to be a her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let me hit the button here.
Next question.
You're in charge of rebooting Beast Wars. What animal does Optimus Primal turn into?
Oh.
Follow up. Megatron. Question mark.
Ooh, this is a good one.
So we're gonna go with Optimus first. I have my choice already selected since I wrote the question, so I'm gonna start. So I'll give you guys a chance to think about it. All right, so I love Beast Wars.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is where Nurse Ratchet was from.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for correcting me. So in Japan, you had Leo Convoy, a lion. That's a good choice. And then you had Beast Wars Neo, which was a woolly mammoth. And the original name was Mammoth Convoy instead of Big Convoy. And I've always stuck that in my head. And I've always said, if I get to reboot Beast Wars, I know just what animal I would do. Don, listen to this name. Big Bear Convoy.
That was actually where I was thinking about going, was with the bear. That's where
Yeah,
I was thinking about
I
going.
could see that happening.
Yeah, basically polar claw, but in more primal colors. Because I mean, there's not many more animal. Well, if you think of a powerful animal, but you need bulk you need mass as far as, just to give you that Optimus Prime image of a big, strong, powerful. A tiger is kind of he's lean, but yeah, a bear is where I was thinking about going to, just to be honest.
Okay.
Just that, 'cause that seems to be, unless you wanted something like, if you went mythical. But again,
It could be anything. Megatron was a dragon.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to go with maybe something mythical, like maybe a griffin, a big, huge griffin with these big wings and something along those lines. I don't know, but I'm not trying to cop out of the answer, but I really think a bear is the best answer for primal.
Big bear convoy.
No.
All right. Duron's Day.
I'm going to go a little out of left field with this, and I'm going to say a moose. And his name would be Rodimus Rodimus Primal.
Rodimus. Right. I forgot about that.
Rodimus Primal.
Rodimus Primal.
Yes. And as far as Megatron goes, I don't think I'd change a damn thing with him, because I can't, though, because a freaking T-Rex is the best thing he could have possibly have been.
He was a cool
beast.
dragon too.
Yeah, well, dragon, yeah, but I mean, shoot, if I have to choose something else, but technically a kaiju is a dragon, so.
I have my ideas about it. I don't want to taint you with my ideas, but
I know what I would have him as. I would have him either sort of an either or, like a Komodo dragon, big, powerful, or actually, to fit more of his character, an anaconda, a snake.
Ooh.
And what I'm thinking of, if y'all remember the toys, the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
The main silver dragon basically unzipped down the middle and became this long kind of Chinese dragon. I can see that kind of being done as a great big anaconda. He's quick. He's silent. He can crush you with his coils. He can bite you with his. I mean, you wouldn't think of Megatron like not in a negative connotation, but he's plotting. And people are naturally afraid of snakes, so that would kind of make him like, ooh, he's a snake. That's kind of, it gives you those heebie-jeebies that is more
transform though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, something like, maybe he could basically be like a really long snake, and it would kind of fold in on himself to transform. But that, or maybe like a kimono dragon, that you still have that same reptilian kind of mode, but they're big and they like stomp, kind of like that.
What if Megatron was the gorilla, the great ape, maybe a Gigantopithecus?
Well,
kind of flip the script there, Make I would keep Primal as the moose, and then Megatron as the great ape. Although he wouldn't just be a gorilla, I'm wanting to say, like a Gigantopithecus, like the biggest, baddest monkey you could ever think of. Well, technically, gorillas aren't monkeys, but you know what I mean.
I just thought of this, and this is just completely for fun, but you have Optimus Primal as an ancient koala bear, so he has this cute little alt mode, this like a koala bear.
That's Robot Chicken.
And oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I haven't watched Robot Chicken in years. So he has this cute little koala bear alt mode, and he's trying to lead everybody like, oh, he's so cute because he's a koala bear.
All right. Well, I've got my ideas on Megatron, and I went in a different way. I thought, well, what is Megatron in Beast Wars? To me, he would be a hunter, and I thought of a big, bad wolf.
Oh yeah.
Big bad wolf. I can just see the sharpness all the sharp edges of the face of the wolf.
Like take Night Fang or K9 from Beast Wars and put them in Megatron colors. A gray and purple kind of panther.
Yeah.
Stripe, not panther, but gray and purple.
Yeah. I was thinking about the wolf from Thor Ragnarok, the big wolf.
Like,
and then
like a dire wolf or something.
Yeah, but you kind of mix that with like those crystalline foxes from The Last Jedi, with lots of sharp edges.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes
and
me
he's
think.
got that tail that becomes a sword with all the spikes on it.
That makes me think of RID 2.0 Steeljaw. That could have made such a good Megatron, in my opinion, if they had went that way, because it was such a well pulled off character design. I just wish the toy wasn't so freaking hollow and cheap. Honestly, I really digged the RID 2.0 line. If they would redo that line with better toys, I think I would be more into it. Yeah. Honestly,
hey,
the toys just freaking sucked.
Yeah. Hey, Duron Benjamin in the chat says, "Would the wolf be weird?"
Of course, and it would be yellow and teal.
I'm thinking
like dark gray with a black stripe going down his back.
Then he looked like a freaking skunk.
Now you gonna think I'm crazy here on this one, but if you kept
Optimus Monk,
if you kept Optimus and Megatron's Rescue Rangers, if you kept them in like a smaller price point, it's not going with the big Ultra Beast, but let's just say a deluxe 2-pack. This is what I'm thinking: Koala Bear for Primal. And I'm thinking a platypus for Megatron. And the reason I'm thinking of a platypus is because it's a mixed up creature that by some rights exists through a weird combination of evolution.
Massey is unhappy.
Yes, he's unhappy. What other character could possibly fit Megatron when you've got layers and layers of plotting and planning, and he looks like this, but he's doing this, but he has a third plan over here? I'm serious. Just a platypus alt mode kind of fits to me. It fits the character. It's like nothing else in existence, and you don't know what to expect when you see it, which is Beast Wars Megatron.
Interesting. Some interesting ones. Interesting thoughts there. Next one, Rick.
Well, let's see. I already hit the button, but who should direct the live-action TF movie? Now, when the movie first got announced, I had 3 people in mind. The last person I thought of was Michael Bay. There were 2 other guys I really wanted. The first one I knew it would never happen. James Cameron. Knew it would never happen. He wouldn't be the right fit. That's just a fanboy thing. The second one to me is the one who I think should do a movie. Mr. Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
Back to the Future. I'm sure he did some other movies. But Back to the Future is the gold standard of time travel movies. And I can just see the way he would just... A little John Land, maybe a little Breakfast Club influence in there. You got a little Spielberg influence in there. But to me, Robert Zemeckis would have done an amazing, amazing job. What else did he do? Forrest Gump, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, listeners, for your information, Jim Black just came back to us. He has an AT&T outage in his area and probably won't be back on. So, yeah. Thank you, AT&T. Assholes. Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
So Robert Zemeckis. Don, you look like you're about to explode.
Yes, because I have got the name the only name you need to consider, and I'm going to drop the mic after I say the name. Brad Bird, Incredibles and Iron Giant. He's done action. He's done a group with the Incredibles. As far as family dynamic, he's used to doing a smaller cast like Iron Giant and Incredibles and work on the dynamics between them.
Didn't he do a Mission Impossible too? Like part 4 or 5 or something?
can't remember, but that's who I'm dropping the mic on. Brad Bird.
Good choice. Good choice. Excellent choice. Duron's Day.
I'm going to say one that might bring a little controversy, but at the same time, I think he could bring some freshness to the franchise while maintaining an element of keeping it traditional. And I'm going to go with J.J. Abrams.
Lens flares for everything.
The thing is that that he changed Star Trek, but at least it still looked like Star Trek.
Okay, that's very true. The first Star Trek was so much better than I thought it could have been.
Absolutely.
Now, Transformers new fan did bring this up. I want to bring this up in the chat for what y'all might think. Guillermo del Toro.
You know, his daughter is a big Transformers fan. His daughter's probably like 16, 17 years old by now. I met her. I met Guillermo at one of the BotCons in Pasadena. He came to BotCon.
Your profile picture on Facebook right now is with you and him.
Yeah, and I was the guy in charge of bringing him into the convention. So I had to go out and meet his family and bring them in. So he was very nice. He took a picture. I got to talk to him in Spanish. And his daughter is a big Transformers fan. And Erin was showing them the cases, and she's like, "Oh, I don't have an animated Blitzwing. I really want him." So he opens up the case and he gives her the one from the display case.
Wow,
that's cool. That's cool.
She was a big Transformers fan.
That's really awesome.
But I think that's I think if you wanted a really different aesthetic, but still Transformers, but this because he puts this unique flavor on the stuff he does. It's recognizable, but it's also not what you expect. So I think that would be a really good choice too. But it wouldn't be whatever you were thinking it would be. It's not going to be. So you'd have to sort of prepare yourself for that.
I mean, really though, I would like to have somebody who basically keeps Transformers at its core. Is not willing to change things, but not change it like the way Michael Bay did and said, "Oh, well, let's just take a Transformer name and throw it on something random, and it not have anything to do with, anything prior." I want it to be able to keep traditional, but I don't mind if they update the look. It's like, okay, Optimus Prime was traditionally a cab over semi. Let's make him a long nose semi. I didn't have a problem with that. At least make him look like Optimus Prime. They come from Cybertron. Cybertron looks a certain way. I want them to keep certain tenets of the core lore together, but I don't. I want them to freshen it up. And I think ultimately that's what I was expecting with the live-action Transformers movie whenever it came in 2007, and we all know that's not at all what we got. We got something. I mean, it started out, it could have been, and then they just kind of jumped the shark.
But I mean, that's not to take away from the success.
No.
Of the films, it's just aesthetically, it's not what we
wanted.
Had built up in our minds.
No.
Okay. So I hit the button here again. Which G1 character should have been made into an Action Master? Follow-up question, what weapon would they have come with?
I hate Action Masters, so...
But that's kind of a good question. It makes you actually think about something you wouldn't normally think of.
Yeah.
So while you guys think about that, I want to talk about Action Masters a little bit. So when I used to work at Hasbro, I went through the archives and I found some art of unreleased Action Masters. And I've talked about this before, but originally Trax was supposed to come with a transforming boat. There was Thundercracker, which was a whole new mold, and he was actually in blue. It wasn't a repaint. It was a whole new mold with wings. There was Blue Streak, which was a whole new mold and not a repaint. Cliff Jumper, whole new mold, not a repaint. Blur, Hound, the Sharkticon Gnaw. Omega Supreme was actually called Omega Supreme on the concept art page. and then somewhere along the line there was a mistake. Bruticus was there. Superion. And there were about 8 new characters. And I can't remember them. And unfortunately, this art most likely no longer exists. But one of them was a semi-truck. And it just looked like a GoBot because he had the big, grill sticking out of his stomach.
Wasn't Motormaster, was it?
No. It was a new character.
Yeah. Wasn't Superion going to be one of them too?
He just said
Yeah,
Superion.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I was.
Yeah, that one showed up. That and Predaking and Perceptor showed up in the Generations book.
Okay.
But it's interesting that Thundercracker and Blue Streak would have been all new molds and not repaints.
Well,
all right, so
I know my answer. And it's not a cop out, but it's, again, I'm retroactively changing a mistake. I would have liked to have seen RC get an Action Master because she did not get an actual toy in the line, but they could have done her as an Action Master with Daniel that became like an energy bow or something. So that way you still would have gotten an RC figure that would have looked a little bit closer to possibly what she looked like in the show. And Daniel could have been a little human figure that basically became, like the Minicon did for that Wilson Publishing thing last year before that. So and he would become like a little energy bow or something. So that way you still get RC and Daniel, but she would finally have gotten a character in G1. So that's.
But you're talking about, okay, I can understand RC, but you're talking about Daniel, and the show had already ended several years prior.
Well, I'm just saying that I really, unless she, I'm just saying that that's the most obvious thing that you would associate RC and Daniel together because Rebirth had already been. So that way you're still using the last known look of the character with something.
But even Soundwave didn't come with Laserbeak or Buzzsaw. It came with a new character.
With Wing Thing. That's just, again, that's off top with me not liking Action Masters. That's what I would like to make me buy an Action Master. That's what I'd like to have seen at that time.
All right. I got my pick, Duron. Are you ready, or should I go?
Go ahead. I still have
All
no
right.
idea who I should get.
So I would love to have seen a Hot Rod, and he would have come with the hoverboard.
Huh.
And the hoverboard would have, the hoverboard would have been like a shield or a sword or some kind of bullshit thing. But, Hot Rod.
I'm going to do a real quick thing for you, Duron. I think they should have done a Unicron Action Master, and he would have come with probably maybe his backpack that was this
like a leader class size almost,
or case.
Yeah.
So it is. He's the carrying case, like the Vader, Darth Vader, or the C-3PO carrying case.
But maybe like his backpack would come apart and become like jousting swords or double-edged blades, or he basically would just carve you in half, then he would eat you. But
who was he fighting with swords?
Primus would have been the wave after that. So, but Action Master Unicron, I think, would have been really kind of cool. But that's just an addendum.
I've got one.
Weird Wolf.
No, this is totally random. One of the, what were the Action Master vehicles? The
Action Master vehicles.
Yeah, the Action Master vehicles.
Yeah.
It would have been Sunstreaker with Chip Chase, and a vehicle would have been a giant wheelchair.
All right, so I'm going to hit the button here.
Hey, it would have worked. Don't knock it.
All right. Only one more Titan class figure can ever be made. Who is it?
I know.
Go ahead, Duron. Go ahead.
Scorponok has to be, because we've already got Fort Max. It feels naked to have to not have his nemesis out there. We got Metroplex, we got Triptychon, Fort Max, and Scorponok. If we was to have another one, I mean, yeah, I know we got Devastator, but technically Omega and Devastator, I don't know.
Well, we're getting Predaking before we get Scorponok, so.
Yeah.
So.
I know a lot of people's going to say Omega, but I really would like to have a Scorponok.
Dom.
I guess I'm going to have to agree with Duron, and because we need Scorponok to balance out against Fortress Maximus. But let's say by the time this question actually became a reality, and we already had gotten a Scorponok, I would say the last one needs to be Omega. I would like it to be animated Omega. Well, and the reason being because you still get Omega Supreme. He can still fight Devastator, but it's still you could G1ify Omega, animated Omega just a little bit.
So you need a third party head to put on there.
You know, but that's. But I'm just saying, definitely Scorponok, like Duron said. I would like, but I got a feeling Hasbro Labs is where we're going to get either a Unicron. Maybe that's the outlet they'll use to try to fund the animated Omega. But as far as a normal produced Titans, not outside of the Hasbro Labs stuff that's brand new, I would have to say Scorponok just to balance everything out. I really think it would.
FVGBE on YouTube is saying Unicron should be the last
Titan. Yeah, I'm with Dawn where I want Omega Supreme, but I'd want him to be the Arc. You know. So it's not, it's not G1 Omega Supreme, but it's Omega Supreme.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, Titans Devastator is G1 Devastator, but I think you could make animated Omega look a little less animated, and does that make any sense though?
To me, I completely agree.
You can make him look a little less animated and just a hair more G1, but it would still be animated enough for the animated fans. But it would fit like he's still fighting Omega. It's just a different looking Omega. It doesn't have to be G1 Omega. But
exactly.
Again, it's a very fine line of like how you're looking at it. But
there's stuff to support your argument because when Perceptor showed up in Generations, he's not a microscope. He's an SUV.
Right.
So your argument's completely valid, and yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Hashtag Me Too. Hashtag feminism.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's just that's. But as we've talked before, sooner or later, this 84, 85, 86 well is going to be basically just totally.
It's getting there now.
Done. Yeah, but I'm saying it's going to eventually be totally. It's dead and done. So looking at these later series to get the classic characters, it's going to have to be done to get something new out. But that's the previous discussions as well.
All right. Which celebrity should voice the Transformer?
Ooh. Oh, there's so many. So many. On a side note, I know a lot of people are very polarized on the Prime Wars trilogy from Machinima. Despite the lack of some storytelling, in my opinion, I really enjoy what they're doing, and I'm really liking what they have lined up for Power of the Primes. With Greg Berger as Grimlock. And they're bringing back Judd Nelson for Hot Rod, and Frank Todaro as Sludge, and who else was there? Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal. Oh my God! So yeah, I mean they're
got the Green Ranger. They got Samoa Joe.
Yeah, they're pulling out all stops for just Power of the Primes, and I'm like. This is flipping awesome. But for my pick, gosh,
man, I've got two lined up ready to go.
Go ahead. Let me try to pick one real quick.
You ready, or should I go?
I'll go. And this is going to be. I think I'm going to try the character. This character is like Sideways. He's sneaky. He's cunning. He's playing both sides against each other. He's a showman who loves over-the-top dramatics, but he's deadly serious in his goals. And he's voiced by Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. That's
makeshift.
I guess you could use him if you want to use him from Prime, but I'm thinking like he has a hidden agenda. He pretends he's an Autobot, like Sideways. He pretends he's a Decepticon. He has plans within
punch
plans.
Double, counterpunch.
Well, again, yeah, I mean they're all cut from a very similar cloth, but this guy's a showman.
So it's a new character.
Yeah. He's got this charm. He's just oozing with charm and personality. But it's like the best worst salesman, snake oil salesman you can imagine.
Nice.
But he's got this bright smile and he just loves talking to you, and you are his best friend. And he's just got these layers and plans, and I can only picture Tim Curry like he did the original It Clown, and it's just this.
He would be
Alex Willows. Alex, yeah, basically, yeah. You could do like a new version of Tarantulas, and as much as I love Alex Willows, if you want to go with celebrity, like name celebrity, I just think Tim Curry. But I love Alex Willows as well. But I'm just thinking Tim Curry.
All right. Well, I got two in mind. One it would be controversial, but the first one is for a specific character, the character of Alpha Trion, and I would love to see Mr. Christopher Walken.
Oh God! Oh
Alpha
my!
Trion. Look, Prime. You gotta transform. Sure. Look, Megatron must be stopped. No matter. Sure. Look, you gotta stop him.
You gotta find it within yourself, Primal.
You gotta transcend. Transform.
Hey, you need more cowbell.
And that's what he turns into, is a cowbell.
Yeah, the new Matrix is the cowbell, yeah.
Look,
Wow, I actually want to hear this now. I actually want to see this.
But he's got Christopher Walken has to do like the motion capture as well.
What is it? I ain't even asked what your second one is.
It'd be William Shatner
Or Nick Cage.
Prime, you got to transform. Truck, not monkey.
You bastard, Megatron.
Megatron.
One shall stand. One shall fall.
Okay, who is your second one?
Doesn't Bryan Cranston actually voice a Transformer? I thought he did.
Wasn't he in one of the Machinima things?
It seems like he was.
I don't know. The William Shatner, I thought he did something.
No, Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad.
Okay. So the second one, look, I'm a big James Roberts, Nick Roach fan. I love the Wreckers. I love their interpretation of the Wreckers. And every time I read that book, Last Stand of the Wreckers, in my head, I play a live action movie. And the person who plays Overlord is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Okay, I've only heard him a few times, and
he's bombastic. He's great on the mic. He can talk. He can improvise. He's got these lips. He's got this
Prime.
He's just got like this way about him.
Have no idea what I have planned for you.
Okay, I got a serious question before Duron. When you say celebrity, you mean like big star name celebrity?
Celebrity.
Okay. What if you were looking within the fandom as a very well known person in the a celebrity in the fandom? I'm going to put this out here because I really think it needs to be said.
There are some good fans out there that are good voices.
Chris McFeely as Megatron.
I've not heard him as Megatron.
If you've heard Chris reading from the IDW trade, he does where Megatron and Ravage is confronting Megatron about why he changed that scene. Chris McFeely's Megatron is incredible. He does both voices, but his Megatron is just this.
What's he's the closest to? Which iteration?
Let me ask you this.
He's on Twitter. The reading is on Twitter from but it's I mean not Twitter, I meant YouTube. It's its own incarnation. I really can't put it closer to anything else. Maybe animated because animated Megatron wasn't bellowing and yelling all the time. He could have this specific dictation the way he's talking, and he can drip menace just with this regular, voice. And so I wanted to say, if anyone out there knows Chris, that I think he would do a wonderful Megatron.
Dom's endorsement.
Yeah.
So if it came down to Chris McFeely or Christopher Walken, which Chris are you going with?
I'd have to go McFeely.
Oh, that's a ringing endorsement.
Yeah, I mean, it's just his Megatron is just this old warrior he's seen what he's done, and he's realizes everything he was doing was wrong. And there's this weight to the way he reads this Megatron, and he tells Ravage but if you haven't seen it, just look up him reading that scene on YouTube, and I think you'll enjoy it.
I will indeed check that out. Duron.
I'm going to come out of left field here again, as I seem to love to do.
Don't say Schwarzenegger.
No. I'm going to go with Megatron. Just, a future version of Megatron. Patrick Stewart.
Oh, my God.
Yeah? I can definitely see that. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Maybe...
And Jonathan Frakes as Shockwave?
Brent Spiner.
Yeah. No, but that kind of Megatron would be like, say, a descendant of the original Megatron that does use the stealth and the guile and the treachery that Starscream always thought they should be doing more than just that sheer brute force.
That crisp, intelligent British accent that he comes forth with. It just seems like it would fit a devious Megatron. I think he could be a transcendent Megatron. He really could.
That's a really good choice. I like that one.
I think we all had good choices there. I think we all picked some good ones there. All right.
This is fun.
Yes.
Millions of years ago, the Ark crashed on Earth. What new historical era should they have awoken in?
I'm going to go first.
I'm thinking a lake in North Carolina.
I'm gonna preface this.
Okay.
Saying there was a great IDW story called Hearts of Steel, which we cannot use for this answer because it's already been done.
I'm not going.
And Hearts of Steel is part of the current ongoing IDW continuity. They retconned it. Those were different characters that Shockwave programmed to think that they were actually Optimus and Bumblebee and Prowl, but they were different characters. And then that Bumblebee is the last surviving one, and his name's Centurion.
I've got one.
Duron, hit me.
Think about this. The 1950s. The late 1950s, early 1960s. The Autobots were mainly hot rods. Just think of the classic cars that they could have been,
That was done. There was a G.I. Joe Transformers Devil's Due crossover. But it was only I think Jazz and RC.
No, I'm talking about the whole
full-blown line.
Yeah, the whole full-blown line. Megatron, they could have still maintained similar alt modes to what they had in G1, just more toward the 50s era type stuff, Man, and I think the Dinobots probably could have looked, maybe make them a little more steampunkish, you know, like they were like 1800s or something. I don't know.
Okay.
That I think that would have looked cool.
Well, it would give us another use for the Big Daddy mold and Cybertron downshift. You know, that could be Prime. That would be a good looking Prime. Just change the faceplate to a more angular plate, and that would work. Rick, did you want to go, or do you want me to
go? Yeah, I'll go. I'm a big fan of the Wild Wild West, and I would totally steampunk that shit out. I would make Prowl, Blue Streak, transform, and Smokescreen transform into horses, right? And they're drawing the carriage, and the carriage is like Ratchet or Ironhide, right? Then you've got like the windmill. The windmill turns into Omega Supreme, and the windmill, it's got that claw already, right?
But it's made out of the windmill panes.
Right. The claws.
God.
Right. Yeah. You got the well, and that's Soundwave, and the bucket comes out, and that's Ravage.
You know, we already getting something like that with the Generation toys, the Optimus and the Sideswipe with the bull and so we're already getting something along those lines.
Right. Like Optimus, he'd have to be a bull. Like I'd see Optimus being a bull, right? And Megatron would be I don't know the hell he'd be. Maybe he's a rattlesnake with the cowboy hat. I don't know.
All right.
A mass-shifting rattlesnake.
I don't know. I think Wild Wild West. I'm a big fan of Wild Wild West.
The show or the movie?
Neither.
So you mean Spike would look like Will Smith?
Yes.
And then
Paladin would be played by Jaden Smith, actually.
And Paladin had a good point. Alex Willows as Tarantulas as the giant mechanical spider.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
My idea. I'm going to go back even further than Beast Wars. I'm going to the Paleolithic,
Paleolithic, huh?
Paleolithic,
not single-celled organisms.
No, not your
the blob versus the blob.
No. I'm talking when you
Optimus Primordial,
Amoeba Prime transform.
Optimus Primordial.
I like that. Okay, no, I mean. You know how we're familiar with the Stegosaurus, the Tyrannosaurus. Back to their predecessors, these great big sea
the proto-dinosaurs and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, proto-dinosaurs. You had these giant early gliding dinosaurs. They didn't fly, but they glide. These giant. It's like y'all seen the movie for the horror movie about the giant undersea creature.
So they're all Dinobots.
Well, but they're bordering on mythical, because these are the animals that would eventually evolve into the dinosaurs that we're familiar with. But we're talking millions of years earlier than that, because the volcano erupted in 1984. The Earth has been geologically unstable well before that, so there's no reason the volcano couldn't have erupted millions of years earlier for whatever reason. But you get these fantastic creatures that we've never seen as toys. You know, these giant sea creatures that are.
You get these fantastic creatures, and you also find out where to find them at.
Yeah, well, your local big bad toy store, Walmart, Target. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking is these prehistoric creatures before the ones we're used to, because then you would have this sense of wonder, like, what the hell are these things? These things are millions and millions of years old, but we're getting, we see them as like giant sloths, the giant huge sloths, or you see pictures like the giant rhinos with like gigantic horns.
Those are mammals, so those came after the dinosaurs.
Well, I'm just saying the gigantic, fantastic creatures of that earlier era. I'm not trying to be. It's not that's part of my history. All right. But I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
Before you move on, Rick, imagine, if you will, the Ark crashes in, say, Southern California.
Lake Titicaca.
No, it crashes in Southern California, and it crashes very deeply in the earth around that area. And whenever an earthquake wakes up Teletran, and it sends out the Sky Spy to scan things, and it just happens to have crashed underneath Disneyland, and everything it scans is in Disneyland. So basically, you would have an entire line of Disney label shit.
In 10 years, when Disney owns Transformers, we're gonna see that movie.
Lord.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 5 with now starring Transformers.
All right.
Optimus Mouse. Mega Gaston.
Right. Here's one for you, Dom.
Okay.
You're in charge of rebooting the G1 television series. You need to add a female character. Who do you gender swap?
I gender swap Optimus and have it be Alita 1 that was on the Ark, not Optimus. And she's
no. That's switching characters. That doesn't count.
Okay. Make Optimus female, but she would basically be Alita 1. Because I've always said I would love to see G1 rebooted, but we start on Cybertron with Alita 1 and her female Autobots, and then eventually we wind up going to Earth, or they show up from Earth. So you're telling the same story, but you're doing it from the reverse angle. So you see all this going on Cybertron with all the fantastic alt modes. So I'm saying, basically, if you're going to make Optimus female, but basically she would be Alita 1 in character. So that way you've got a completely different dynamic, but you still got a heroic character that you can be familiar with. Just don't use her Power of the Primes jet mode.
It's Peter not Cullen bad. Still voice the character?
No, but you could have Tara Strong, Sue Blue. You can pick hundreds of different great female voice actresses
I would go Emily Blunt on that one, or Angelina.
Yeah, I can picture Tara Strong's Raven as kind of the Alita 1 voice, very controlled, but can be very passionate when there's a battle or there's an injustice to be fought. But she's very controlled, she's very calm, she's very focused. So I can imagine Tara Strong's Raven as kind of being the voice for this Alita.
Man, Tara Strong is gorgeous.
Yes, and I think she knows it too.
Duron, should I go, or are you ready to roll?
I'm gonna throw one out there, and people are gonna hate it. Grimlock.
I don't hate that.
Grimlock is a female leader of the Dinobots.
So you're saying that women are moody? What is the...
No. Grimlock, think about Grimlock, though. He might have been dim-witted, but he was also one of the most powerful Autobots, too, you know. He was very strong and very authoritative. But I think Grimlock as a female character could have been very powerful, actually. A very, very, very moving, plot-moving character, in my opinion.
Okay.
Just adding that dynamic to it.
Basically, she would kind of be like maybe, and again, I'm not really trying to. She would be like kind of like the matriarch of the Dinobot family. Mm-hmm. Which could make her even more deadly.
Well, and if you think about it, paleontologists think that the female T-Rex was probably the more dominant as they raised their young. So, you know, maybe he had, or she would have had, Grimlock would have had that maternal protective instinct.
I'm going to tell you who the voice actress is for that.
Okay.
Brigitte Nielsen.
Okay.
Oh, whoa!
All right.
That would be.
I mean, am I crazy? It would work, right?
No, it it works because she would have this bit of an accent.
Right, and she's got that smoker's voice too now, and yeah.
That's oddly appropriate. I would have never thought of that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Although Flavor Flav is not any of the Dinobots.
Right. No, he's Jazz. All right. I'm going to go with what I assumed was the obvious choice in Starscream.
That's too easy, though.
That's
Starscream,
it's the obvious choice. That's why I say that.
Starscream, or Trax would have been way too easy.
But if you're doing that in Starscream, we would get a more Slipstream version, which could be a lot more interesting if it was like the Slipstream persona, that aspect of him that was in control. That could make a lot more interesting than like Megatron has stubbed his toe. I'm the leader now. Shut up. Just shut up, Starscream.
Yeah, Carrie said on here, what if Starscream was male, but all the other Seekers were female? Basically, his Starscream's harem.
Then you'd have a whole other like list of issues with that. A guy wants to usurp the women, and it's just
that's Kiss Players Generation 2.
No, it would have been Generation 1.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, now Transformers new fan. The new Starscream would be Evil Lyn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which works, which really works.
Man, I had a voice actress in mind, but I lost it. Oh man.
Ooh, FVGBE says Bumblebee would make a great female character too.
As long as the character doesn't constantly need to be rescued.
That would be too.
Yeah.
I don't know, cliche. I guess.
Yeah, it's.
We're very woke on the show.
We are very woken. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Which character should have been in the first TF movie? I assume that stands for Transformers. This would be the live action movie.
Ooh. That didn't make it. That should have. That should have.
What would they have? You know, I have someone in mind. You guys want me to start?
Sure.
I think of the Transformers in that first movie as a team of superheroes. You got your big strong guy who's the Hulk, that's Ironhide. You've got your Captain America, Prime. You've got your I don't know what the fuck Jazz was, but your racist guy, Jazz, right? Your racist interpretation. You got your Doctor, right? Well, who's missing from the Justice League? The Flash.
Blur?
You need your speed guy. So I would go with Blur. Yeah, I would have made him a Corvette. Or a Dodge Viper or something. Probably a Corvette because it's Chevy. But yeah, a guy that's just super fast and, you know, can run circles around people. He's got a specific use, a specific power.
I'm going to go with Ultra Magnus.
He was down.
Somebody that's very grounded, very military minded, and give Optimus Prime a clear second in command. Somebody that could basically, you know, whenever there's several instances when Prime goes down, you know, he could have stepped in.
He would have taken over.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ultra Magnus.
Okay.
We never really saw him, so in those, so
that's true. I've got two, mainly because I think they both could serve completely different roles.
Okay, so RC and who else?
Yeah, again, one was
RC was in it.
Not in the first one though.
Not in the first one.
No.
You know,
and that's that's RC in name only. That's not.
Yeah, really. But I think if you had RC in the first one, you could have had a better balance of characters. But the one I think would have worked, Alpha Trion, as like Jaga,
Gandalf.
Or Gandalf. Alpha Trion would be the wise sage, because
we're here for the Allspark.
Okay.
Where is Ladies Man 217?
But the reason I'm thinking is that since they discovered the Allspark, he would have the most knowledge about it. So it makes sense for him to be going with them to Earth since the Allspark has been discovered. And then with him being the elder statesman, not that he's showing up Prime, but he would be the one to give the history of the Transformers, the race, and everything else, not having it belong to Prime, but that would be his function, would be the historian. And then his death in the first movie would be part of the escalation to get the cube back. He dies trying to get the cube. So he's not there as just to give.
So his death would have been more purposeful than Jazz.
Well, I'm just saying, if I hate to say it, but kind of yeah. But I'm thinking if you added this more mystical component from Alpha Trion, and he's this wise old Gandalf-like sage that tells about the history, about why they're there, you get a greater sense of weight coming from this old wise Autobot. And again, I think his death would mean more in the escalation to get the Allspark.
Okay, does he come back as a Force Ghost in the sequels?
I think it would be fun, and it's just as an Easter egg, if he did pull like a Jaga, but only Prime could see him. And it'd be like, he's coming back from the other side to give advice, but don't use him as like a MacGuffin, but I mean, just maybe once a movie, it's
use the Matrix Prime.
Well, like for example, Prime can be driving down the road and he looks off into a field or something, and there's Alpha Trion's ghost, and something like that. But like he's pointing at something like a sign, and Prime looks at this sign and he realizes this sign gives him an idea, which will be the next thing.
Is it the speed limit?
So Alpha Trion is kind of pointing the way, but not saying, "Hey, this is for the third act, so you need to do this." But no, but just keep him as like a Jaga ghost, but only Prime can see him. And only use him in like split-second cameos, little things like that, just to keep that mystical component of the Transformers without saying, "This is mystical. We don't have to explain it." No, you don't. It's just he's just saying, "Do this or do that," and then Prime gets the idea from what he's seeing. Or it takes him a while. It's like Prime looks at this road sign, which is for X, but then he doesn't realize till later X is what gives him the idea to do Y. Something like that.
Okay.
One more, Rick.
One more. I already hit the button. This one's a good one. Which pop culture crossovers would you like to see happen with Transformers?
Oh, gosh. There's so many.
Can I go?
Sure. Knight Rider?
Yeah, Knight Rider. Knight Rider.
Yeah, but that's like not really mainstream anymore. I mean,
come on, Peter Cullen played Carr.
Yeah, I know, but
Knight Rider. Kit would be like, "You sound familiar." Right? Can you see like Michael Knight getting inside of Optimus or Jazz, and like Kit being like a little jealous of that, and like Spike gets inside of Kit, right? He's like, "Kit, I need you, buddy." Something like that. Like, I can
now,
totally see
are
it.
we
At the
talking
end,
like a
and at the
like
end,
a?
Kit's gonna transform into an Autobot.
Are we talking like a TV show or a toy line?
Yeah, and probably like a comic book. It's a story.
Well, I'm thinking more along a toy line. Like the Marvel crossovers were.
Okay.
But let's keep it,
keep
more
it story centric.
Well, story centric, but keep it diverse. Just like have all kinds of different, not just one property like Knight Rider. You could have an Airwolf in there. Have like a DeLorean.
Then it gets convoluted. That's why I say,
well, you have varied characters.
Culture. No. It's got to be one, dude. You can't just like, all right, 1980s crosses over
fan link, yeah.
You can't do that.
Well, we've already had Star Trek. We've already had Star Wars, so let's do Star Trek. No. I'm going to take that back. That's too easy. Too easy. crap.
Dom, what you got?
No, Pacific Rim.
Okay.
Transforming kaiju and Jaegers.
Yeah,
the kaiju merge with Abominus, right?
Yeah, the kaiju are the Decepticons. They want to sow fear and terror.
I mean,
so you're a gigantic monster. So yeah.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's not much of a stretch from what it already is. I mean, they're already giant robot mechs, but let's make them sentient. Let's make them transform, and let's make the kaiju actually.
No, don't even go that far. There's the Jaegers, and then there's the Autobots, and they team up against the Terracons or the Predacons. You got to have the mix comes with the kaiju and the Decepticons. That's where the mix comes in.
Okay.
Then you see like Optimus pulling out his sword, standing next to like Gypsy Danger, and they're like both using their swords against the monster.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is completely self-serving. This is just for me because no one else will buy into it, and I don't care.
Visionaries. No.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Lucky guess.
Because I had this idea years ago called Magic Masters, where the arc crashes on Prismos. They're awakened, but they can't be in robot mode that long because the anti-technology field will affect them. So Merklin gives them the powers of the Spectral Knights to the Autobots, the Darkling Lords get to the Decepticons, and the Transformers themselves, they still have their robot modes, but they transform into mechanical versions of the Visionaries' totems. Like Optimus Prime would be a lion, and you'd have the other characters be these. So they're technology-based creatures, but they're now powered by magic. So they're having to learn this whole new form of it. It's like Beast Wars, but instead of it being Energon, they can't be robot mode for too long because of the anti-technology field caused by the three sons of Prismus aligning. So you've got Megatron becoming this giant mollusk kind of thing like Darkstorm did. And maybe their weapons are based on the magical spell poems of their matching Visionaries. Optimus doesn't have he still has his weapon, but he can like summon the ancient knowledge of the planet through the Staff of Wisdom, which could be Alpha Trion, or I'm just saying whatever. But I'm just saying, I think that would be, again, it's just for me, but you're changing the dynamic of the Transformers by you're adding the magical component, but they're still familiar. You get Optimus as a line.
Basically Decepticon Raiders in King Arthur's court, but
with actual real magic and not just it be, oh, this is magic, this is gunpowder.
Or Madman's Paradise.
It's funny because in the comic books, Prismos actually crashes on Cybertron.
Yeah. I need to pick. I want to pick up that trade so I can read it. But I mean, again, that's just for me. But I think if you add the magical component from Visionaries in that kind of medieval setting to creatures that are technical, that are mechanical and super technologically advanced, and they're having to relearn their entire way of life based on magic, the storytelling potential and the toy potential is just, I think, unmatched for something different.
Okay.
I'm going to do... Go ahead, Rick.
Well, we had a bunch of questions we didn't get to, but maybe we'll do another show like this one day.
I'm going to throw this out there. If you listeners, if you love this episode, this was kind of the first time we've ever done something like this. And we've had roundtable episodes. We've had just random discussions. But, just having one of these where you kind of put questions in a hat and draw them out was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let us know.
I thoroughly enjoyed this because it puts you on the spot. It makes you think about, and like Action Masters, I don't give Action Masters two thoughts.
Me either.
Over the course of a year.
I thought my Sunstreaker answer was quite good actually. So.
I didn't, but that was.
I think we got a good audience participation.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep the fun rolling just one more time here, and I'm going to throw one out there, just a quick one. Okay, a toy that is an existing toy that exists in any existing toy line. bring it into bring it over to Transformers. Either make it a Transformer, or somehow work it into the Transformers toy line. And it has to make sense. Go.
Baby, I mean, you could say G.I. Joe all day and night.
A single toy. A single toy. Not
I mean, anything in G.I. Joe, up and down, left and right, all day and night, 24/7. You can do that. But I'm gonna take G.I. Joe out of the equation because it's too easy. Oh man. The first thing that comes to mind is the Batwing.
Nice.
Like the animated series Batwing, which was my favorite Batwing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And he'd be Batman. Batman-like character. He'd be out there on his own.
Hey, you know what? That could be DevCon.
Or I think DevCon, Depth Charge from Beast Wars, he's out there on his own. He's like, I gotta get Jokermas.
Yeah. All right. I have an idea.
Don, go ahead.
I think a Star Wars AT-AT or AT-AT, whichever way we pronounce it, as Trypticon. A big, lumbering, stomping beast to destroy everything in his path.
I think they did a transforming AT-AT, right?
Well, a small figure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying a Star Wars $150 AT-AT.
His alt mode is the AT-AT.
Yeah, but he's actually Trypticon.
Don. Trypticon, but spelled Tripticon.
See, Dan, I thought you were going to say the AT-AT, but you painted to look like Supreme Cheetor.
No, Trypticon.
Cut his mic. Drop his call. No Supreme Cheetor. No, but I'm serious.
His biggest weakness is cables and ice.
But no, I'm saying the Imperial AT-AT is one of the most formidable. It's probably the most formidable thing the Empire has.
It's my favorite Star Wars vehicle.
I mean, besides the Death Star or the Death Star 2.
Well,
okay. Or Star Killer Base, or a Star Destroyer, or a Super Star Destroyer.
Okay, but I'm just saying, an AT-AT painted as Trypticon, I think that would get me to buy a Star Wars toy. Is if its alt mode was an AT-AT or AT-AT. I know there's just diversion in the fandom over which way you pronounce it.
I'm AT-AT all day and night. I don't like surprises, man. You put me on the spot. I said the Batwing. I don't know how I feel about it now, but.
So
what's your answer?
Toys from any line, and I'm going to keep it very close. One that I wish had made it into the Transformers line. Brave X-Kaiser's Dino Geist.
Would that be Megatron?
Is that a cop out though? I mean,
no.
Well,
it's Brave. I
said any toy from any line, and it never made it into the Transformers line. And
it would be a good Megatron in the right colors. It could look pretty good. Heck, I mean, we could do a whole show on Brave reimagined. It's like Guardian could be Inferno, Prowl, and Ratchet form Guardian, and they're we can do a whole show on bringing Brave toys over. But yeah, that would make a good Megatron with an updated toy.
I have a Dino Geist, and I have to say that is one of my favorite toys of all time. I just love that freaking toy. I mean, it's fun to transform. It looks good. His super jet mode is like really imposing. He's got a really cool looking Dino Beast mode, and his robot mode looks freaking cool. I just love it. I think and it's already in the G1 Transformer aesthetic, so he would have fit right in. I really lament the fact that it never made it into the Transformers line, and it's already a Takara product. So
yeah. Hey, Duron, are we okay on time? Can we do one more question? Are we okay on
We're at
time?
an hour and 40 minutes right now, but sure, go right ahead.
Tom, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I mean, I'm not trying to make the show run long, but I would love another crack or two with this. This is so much fun.
Okay, Don, throw one out there.
No, I mean, no, Rick, do the.
I thought you had
I
one.
thought you
Okay.
were going to ask us.
Oh no,
All
no,
right,
I don't.
let's-
I don't.
No,
I'm just saying.
you know what? You know what? Let's let the listeners ask one. The next person to post it in the live chat on the YouTube channel, ask a question, and we will answer it.
Oh, hopefully, we won't
Transformer
be-
related. Keep it Transformer related.
Yeah.
And no, Jar Jar Binks is not going to be a Supreme Cheetor figure. That mold is not. That mold
I
is not
thought
viable
you hate
anymore.
that toy. All right, we're waiting. Come on, guys. I know you got one.
Come on, I know. Come on, guys. I'm watching the chat right now.
Yeah, we're watching it live.
Hit us, guys. Give first person with a good question.
Been burning it up the whole night here.
I'm gonna give Maxie some food real quick while they're doing this.
All
I
right.
think he's.
I do like Aries 083's idea to make this the next version of this through the Rick use the audience participation, and also make this a Patreon thing too. You know, okay.
Add a question that will be asked for XYZ dollars.
All right, Heath Hinton came in first. What 80s show would Transformers fit into?
I don't understand the question.
What 80s show would Transformers fit into as
Like
far
take like Family Ties and make them Autobots, or
as
what is the?
Well, Jamil White could do Blur.
How do you interpret that question?
Did
How-
you
how
hear the
do
question, Don?
think that question is?
Don, did you hear the question?
Yeah, I heard it.
If Jaleel White could be a Transformer, what Transformer would he be? That's
He'd be Blur.
Well, no, I mean let's just take it for the base question. Think of a TV show and just add Transformers if they were real into it. You know, live
so
action,
take a
live
TV show
action
from the '80s
Yeah,
and make it Transformers.
yeah. Basically,
Wow.
interweave. Yeah, put Transformers into an '80s show and make it work.
I'm gonna go with the low hanging fruit and say Airwolf.
Airwolf.
I
That
like
could
it.
definitely work.
I like it. I'd be all over that.
I mean, I would go with the Dukes of Hazzard, and I would make the General Lee be Cliff Jumper from Transformers Prime, played by The Rock.
Oh, and Boss Hogg's Cadillac could be Megatron.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
caddy-
absolutely.
Caddy could be Megatron.
Yeah, and then there's the police car. That's that's Barricade or
Foul,
Starscream.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I'm going to throw one out there. The A-Team. I'm going to have the Autobots and the A-Team together, and the Decepticons along with Colonel Decker.
Mm.
And remember, someone did that tow line custom into the A-Team van all those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure how to interpret that question. I was like, you take silver spoons, but they're Transformers instead of
Here we are, face
that
to
work,
face on another planet.
like Strokes, but like Dana Plato's a Transformer.
Or okay,
What you talk about, Megatron?
would Perfect Strangers be too late? Would that be like early?
that was late '80s,
I couldn't remember. It's been too long.
Bosom buddies. It's Sideswipe and Sunstreaker.
That's right, Sideswipe. Well, I think it would be Tracks and Knockout.
Don's losing his shit here.
Tracks and Knockout. Where they're on Cybertron, and they're trying to make it as two women, Transformers, but they're
As part of Alita's one group.
one's an Autobot male, the other one's a Decepticon male. Watch how they try to work their way onto the arm. It's Bosom Buddies, starring Trax and Knockout.
Laverne and Shirley Transformers.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Good.
All right, guys.
Wow.
Again, if you love what we do, check us out. Go to our Patreon page. Help us out each month. Follow us on Twitter at TFYLP. Anything new regarding the podcast or the cast or anything is always put up there first. It's the best way to get in contact with me directly.
I'd say the Fall Guy would work too. Make that truck.
Oh yeah,
into Trailbreaker.
Absolutely.
And he's teaming up with Lee Majors to do detective shit in California. He's like, I'm not fighting that war anymore.
Definitely.
Force field face now.
Definitely. If you go to Ripped Apparel and get one of the great T-shirts that's available on Ripped Apparel, and if it's T-shirts, any of the things that they actually offer on Ripped Apparel, if they don't already have a great promotion going on, you can use the promo code, all capital letters, TFYLP pod, and you can save 10% on your order at Ripped Apparel. So please do that. And as always, check out our sponsor, CapturedPrey.com. Great toys, great prices, great service. You can save even more on on orders of $150 or more with free domestic shipping at CapturedPrey.com. Guys, do you have any closing thoughts?
I think this is something that really took off better than I was expecting anyway.
We need to do this at least every other month, I think.
Yeah, because it'll get too old if we do it too much.
Yeah.
But I really think this was a lot of fun, and it makes you think on your feet.
Should we throw a question out to listeners and let them post on the Facebook page and the groups?
Yeah. Go to facebook.com/groups/TFYLP and find the thread for this episode. And we'd love to hear your questions and hear some of your answers to what we talked about here on the show.
Here's our listener exclusive question.
Absolutely.
You're in charge of rebooting Beast Wars. What is Rat Trap's new beast mode?
You are in charge of rebooting Beast Wars. What is Rat Trap's new beast mode?
Same character, he's just a different animal now.
Okay. I'm gonna pick him as Platypus, so that's my choice. No one else can use that.
Yeah, post them on our Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you and see what your thoughts are on that. If you were to reboot Beast Wars and make Rat Trap a whole new character, what would he be?
Definitely a beaver.
A beaver.
I just like saying beaver.
Oh, we all like beavers. Definitely.
Good night, everybody.
All right, we'll see you next time on TFYLP. Good night, everybody.
Good night.